What even is the NFL Combine if not another opportunity for the University of Georgia to assert its absolute dominant stranglehold on the entire college football landscape? There is one program in college football worthy of your attention, and this happens to be the podcast that talks about it. Today on the Locked On Bulldogs, we're going to get into all that juicy Combine talk.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are back.
Yeah, we
Welcome
are.
to Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It's their team. It's our team. It's America's team.
Look, if it's not your team, well,
T's and P's to you.
I don't know how losing feels because I've only done that once in 2 years.
It's hard.
So there's that. We are talking Combine, as Daniel was talking about, the mysterious love affair that Georgia athletics has with the Combine of showing out. Just absolutely getting up in somebody's eye hole and saying, this is my place.
Yeah,
What are you going to do about it?
last year, Jordan Davis went to the Combine, and he said, I live here now.
Yeah.
This is where I live. You can all...
Well, Daniel, it was Indianapolis.
You can all come and go as you please, but this is my city. I own it. I have the key. I've been given the key to it in a ceremony. And
it wasn't really a ceremony when you force somebody to do something.
Well, that is true. And this year, the Georgia Bulldogs have returned. So listen, there's a lot to talk about this Combine. We're probably going to break this up into multiple episodes because there's a lot of dogs to get to. So I know that we're kind of starting back a few days ago, several days ago now, by the time you're listening to this. But we're going to kind of get to all the highlights of the Combine that happened over this past weekend. Let's start, though, with what I think... Am I wrong about this? I think this is the biggest showing, not of any Georgia Bulldog at the Combine. I believe that Nolan Smith made the most money of any other person at the NFL Combine.
There's a second person who's also on Georgia list. Hold on. Tight ends, by the way, I watched the tight ends. That is a deep class, and this guy fits it. Darnell Washington maybe made himself top 25 pick, top 20 pick.
You're going to get to him maybe in a couple days. To be clear, I think Anthony Richardson also made himself a lot of money at the Combine. We're going to talk about that tomorrow.
I'm going to talk about AR. Trust
me. We talk
me.
about what a joke that is. But Nolan Smith is a first-round draft pick, Clint. Listen, we'll get to the numbers maybe in a minute. But this is a guy that came into this Combine, and he was not projected by anyone at any time in the first round.
Top 40, top 50, a lot of mocks had him going early second, mid-second. You had the injury concern. You had production. You didn't have the sack numbers, yada.
Sack, all these things. But listen, it just goes to show you give a guy a 40 time. And Clint, what's the numbers on that 40 time again? Hit me real quick with that.
I'm going to tell you the 40 time, Daniel.
Okay.
Now, to remind everybody, to remind those watching on YouTube and listening on the podcast and you yourself, this is not a wide receiver.
No.
He's not a running back.
No.
He's not a safety.
Okay, no.
He's not a cornerback.
No. He's not a middle linebacker.
No. He's 6'2", 240 and ran a 4.3940.
I'm sorry. He is 6'2".
Yes.
And he weighs 240 pounds.
Correct.
And he ran what is that again?
A 4.39 40-yard dash.
Okay. Let me say this.
Please.
Tyreek Hill.
Yep, go ahead.
Ran a 4.2940. 1/10 of a second slower.
Yes.
Than Nolan Smith, the defensive lineman.
Correct.
Just ran. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah.
the fastest dude in the NFL, in the league. You're telling me that if Nolan Smith had to chase down Tyreek Hill,
Yep.
and it wasn't somehow, and he had even the slightest angle on him,
Correct.
he would catch him? That's what you're trying to tell me?
Jamal Charles, when he was at the combine, ran a 4.38 40.
Oh.
Daniel?
Well, does he also play defensive line?
Nope, he plays running back.
No. Okay. So, the guy that's you're trying to tackle there.
There has not been a tight end who has posted a better 40 time than Nolan Smith ever at the combine.
Oh.
There has been 2 inside linebackers. I'm sorry, 1 that has beaten it, 2 that have made that the same.
Uh-huh.
And there has been 1 other edge rusher that has ever had a faster 40 time.
I'm sorry, you said ever.
And as the combine has existed.
Well, how about the fact that he ran faster than all but 3 wide receivers in this year's class?
There it is.
Every wide receiver in this year's class except 3. He ran the 40 faster than Jalen Hyatt ran the 40.
Okay. If he was a safety, he would be on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 top 12 of safeties ever at the combine.
Ever at the combine. Okay. We're just talking about the man isn't, it's a superhuman thing,
Correct.
what he's done. But I'm going to tell you in the next segment why it's foolishness. This is only validating where Nolan Smith should have been drafted all along. And,
there it is.
And I stand by what I'm going to say. Even though we're spending all this time talking about the combine, that 4.39 40 time has nothing to do with why you should draft Nolan Smith in the first round.
How dare you, sir? These men are in pajamas.
We're going to talk about what Nolan Smith actually did in segment 2 to warrant being a first-round draft pick, and then we're going to get to a couple of other key defenders on last year's team as well.
But first, I want to talk about Built Bar. Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. They are high in protein. They are low in sugar. They are high in fiber. They are a great meal replacement on the go, pre-workout, post-workout, whatever your busy schedule has. Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. How do we know? Because we've tried them.
We eat them and we like them.
And I steal Daniel's when I come and visit his house because they're that good.
Still not forgiven.
No, there's many things that is the case of, Daniel. The list is long.
Listen, the list of reasons why I will fight you is not incredibly long, but that one's on it.
There's one other.
But
Built Bar, tastiest protein bar. They taste like a candy bar, and yet they are, in fact, a protein bar. Get over right now, built.com. Promo code locked on for 15% off your entire order. Get them at Sam's Club as well. Get mix and match, puffs, crisp, whatever you need. Built Bar, the tastiest protein bar, yes, on planet Earth.
Nigh on this entire planet, Clint. There's never been a tastier protein bar. Let's talk about Nolan Smith, because this guy's always been a first-round draft pick.
Yeah,
this is
the weird thing, and this is what Combine does to people. All of a sudden, good thinking, well-coached, intelligent, articulate people lose their mind at the Combine.
Yes.
When all they have to do is go back and look at the film of Nolan Smith every single time he played, and they will see the top-graded edge defender against the run in the SEC the last 2 years. That's what they'll see. And they'll see pulling guards, pulling tackles, running backs, tight ends. It doesn't matter who they put in front of him. The edge on which Nolan Smith sat was set, and no one got outside. Why do you think there was a gulp in our throats when we thought about this defense continuing on to go to another championship without Nolan Smith setting that edge? And it was real.
Terrifying.
We were not kidding.
We got on this podcast nervous as all get up.
All up in our feels.
Yeah, that's right. You just look at the tape. He doesn't have the sack numbers.
Sure.
But anyone who watches football can see, just watch the play in the national championship game when he chases down Bryce Young on the sideline. Watch the plays that he makes setting the edge against the run, as you said. Watch the plays that he makes, chasing a play to the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, running down the backside, making a tackle. Just watch what Nolan Smith does on an every down basis, and then you combine that with, yes, he is a freaky athlete as well. And listen, what people are not even talking about is what people are not talking about enough is, I don't know what kind of ridiculous Wonderlic tests they're going to put in front of these guys. Let me tell you this. Whatever kind of nonsense test they put in front of him, I don't know how anybody's going to do on it. But I promise you this. Nolan Smith's going to ace whatever test, whatever interview, whatever personality evaluation you want to do on a kid. This kid has got leader of leaders. He's got this guy.
Quick question. Does Georgia have top caliber, alpha 5-star, all country recruits every single time? The guys who are used to getting their way on every room they walk into since they were 8th graders.
Coming out of everywhere, Georgia's got these players.
Okay. And was Nolan the type of guy that people listened to and responded to within that group of 1%ers in the 1% of college football?
Not for 1 year. Not for 2 years.
Nope.
But for all the years that he's been on campus, that's who Nolan Smith has been. He is an absolute rock in the locker room. He is a leader of men, and
sir.
He will make an NFL team significantly better from day one. Can't wait to see what this kid does. On the other side of the line of scrimmage, you got Robert Beal. And now listen, not everybody runs a sub 4.4 in the 40. And so Robert Beal comes out here, Clint, and not a bad showing for him as well.
No. Robert Beal. Now, again, granted, you have to understand, the combine is a very, very odd assortment, Daniel. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's weird tests and the shuttles and yada, yada, yada. Just on the 40, Robert Beal's tape was good. He had a high ceiling. I still think he does have a high ceiling. Production wasn't there. Often maligned, but a 4.48 40, Daniel.
That's pretty good.
It's still very, very
6'4", 250.
Correct.
He's got the size, and he's a talented kid. I think Robert Beal is he's always going to be drafted. It'll be interesting to see where Robert Beal lands, what kind of a system he lands in, and whether or not he lands in a defensive system where he can find himself a role and find himself a niche on defense. If you had to project Robert Beal into a round in the draft, where are you going to put him at this point?
Man, Robert Beal, to me, I think he is somebody that you're going to look at a team that already has great chemistry on defense and a great defensive coach, and you're going to go, Kirby Smart got the most out of him. So you need another Kirby-esque guy on defense. This is not going to be come into the Kansas City Chiefs and put them on the field and see what happens. The Chiefs are the type of thing, they just throw guys out there and see what happens. This is a more Bill Belichick-esque guy, okay? Mm-hmm. And so it's going to take somebody maybe the 6th round, I think, taking a chance and putting him into a system just like Jamari. Jamari did not wow people, and we said countless times, he's going to be a franchise left tackle. Go get him. Chargers waited till the 6th round, got him, and all of a sudden now they're saying this year, oh, hey, look, we have a franchise left tackle.
The difference is that you don't have nearly as much tape on Robert Beal. He's made some plays. He's been good. He's been solid. But you don't have a ton of consistent tape with Robert Beal. And, as I just said, that's really what we value more than anything else. But on the other side of that coin, though, is another guy that we're going to talk about maybe right after we come back from this. All right, let's close out the show today, Clint, talking about another Smith. Christopher Smith. You want to talk about just some damn good dogs, Clint.
Come on.
How about Nolan Smith and Christopher Smith? I mean, these guys, you can't replace them. Let me just say that. Let me say it out loud in case anybody needs to hear it. Georgia's defense going to be very good next year. Okay?
Very.
Georgia's defense loaded to the gills with talent. Georgia's defense not going to have any problem putting great athletes, great football players onto the field. Georgia has elite coaches. Georgia's defense is going to be very good. We did lose our defensive coordinator to the University of Alabama. He did take a position at the...
Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
No. That didn't happen.
Oh, interesting.
No, that did not happen. I was told it was going to happen by some very well-informed sources. Very well-informed sources.
Do your research.
Well, I did my research and still got the defensive coordinator. He's still right here. The defense is going to be fine next year. But you're not just going to go replace guys like Christopher Smith and Nolan Smith, because the things they bring to a football team are bigger than football. They're bigger than tackles and 40 times and what have you. Now, Christopher Smith did not have a great showing at the NFL Combine. He did not wow anybody with his reps or his shuttles or his cones or his 40s or his whatevers it is that he did. And that's fine. There's something to be said for that. I'm sure that's not going to play into Christopher Smith's favor when it comes draft day.
No. Christopher Smith was at the Combine to do check marks of things. It wasn't to move up or down. It was to confirm on tape or deny on tape what you saw. And what you saw on tape was a dude that ran the alleys and covered the middle of the field with elite precision, more than any other safety in the nation. Christopher Smith was such a heartbeat to this Dawgs defense. And the Combine scores 4.6 to 40, not great. 10-yard split, 1.56. Bench press, 15 reps. Vertical jump, 33. Not great. I understand that. And yet, how many times have we said this? The Combine is where you guys lose their minds on certain prospects, and you're able to confirm, deny, or jump up. I don't like the jumping up ascending so much as it is confirmation, right? That's what I like the Combine to do. Christopher Smith did not make himself money at the Combine. I don't think he lost himself a ton of money. I think he was always going to be wherever he was going to be on people's boards based on tape, and that's what the Combine showed us.
Yeah, absolutely. I have the world's best analogy when it comes to Christopher Smith.
This man said world's best analogy. Okay, give it to me.
Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Do you remember that? Does the name Duncan Meyer mean anything to you, Clint? Duncan Meyer. Okay. For those of you,
it's not an 80s rom-com protagonist.
For those of you that may not be familiar, there's an episode of a television show called Seinfeld.
It's the greatest.
In which a race was conducted between Jerry and this guy Duncan Meyer. Now, if you recall from the episode,
not to race.
I choose not to run. I told him the same thing I've told everyone. I choose not to run, which is what some people did at the Combine. And I really wish somebody, when they do that, would say to a media member, I told them the same thing I've told everybody. I choose not to run. Nobody will.
No.
You notice I saved Christopher Smith so I could save this analogy for the 199. People love the banter.
They love the banter.
People are here for the banter.
Hey, you know what? 191, get on over right now to the 199. Bonfire.com/store/the199.
The race, the premise of the episode is basically this, that Jerry was deemed to be the fastest kid in school.
Yep.
Not because he actually was the fastest kid in school.
No.
But because when Mr. Beloafqua was firing off the gun to start the race,
Little beam teeth.
he was down there. He was down at one end, and Jerry and George were down at the other end.
Uh-huh.
He said, on your mark, get set. Jerry takes off.
I love this.
He gets a head start before the gun fires, and so he's already way down the line before anybody else starts running. He wins the race by a mile, never races again. This is Christopher Smith, guys.
Okay.
40 times don't mean that much when you get a head start on every play that you're in. It doesn't matter who the fastest safety is.
No.
Do you know what matters, Clint? Who's the fastest safety to the ball?
Who gets to the ball first?
Who gets to the man with the ball? Now, there are two ways to get to the man with the ball fast. You can either run fast getting there.
Okay.
Or you can know where he's going and get a head start. This is Christopher Smith. And if you've watched Georgia football, and I know you have, if you've watched the Oregon game last year, go ahead and cut that Oregon tape on for me real quick. And you tell me about Christopher Smith's 40 time. Because let me tell you, when Oregon started running that Gus Malzahn wide screen game, Christopher Smith wasn't having any of it.
No.
He was there in a heartbeat, coming downhill, laying the wood on these backs and receivers, and he did so not because he's the fastest guy in the room. He's never been the fastest guy in the room, Clint. He's never even been considered among the fastest guys in the room.
No, sir.
What Christopher Smith has is all up here. It's all in his ability to diagnose plays, to know where people are going before they get there, and to get a head start. So listen, I'm not worried about Christopher Smith whatsoever. 40 time was about, was it slower than what I thought it would be? Yeah, it probably was a little slower than what I thought it would be. I thought it'd be in the 4.5s. But Christopher Smith has never made his money on speed. He makes his money on being right. And he's right almost always.
A lot. Go look at Jimmy Ward of the 49ers for a comp. That's who I think Christopher Smith could be. Hey, this has been Locked On
He's
Bulldogs.
more like Jerry Seinfeld to me, but I think Jimmy Ward is a fine comp. It's fair. I choose
Can't
not
stand
to run.
yes.
Can't stand
This has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We'll be back tomorrow talking more combine results. Check us out then.
See ya.